Hello, I am Paula Marie of paulamariespeaks.com, and I am here to go over some of the things that I posted in my blog this month, pushing through grief during the holidays. I have been sick. I'm battling getting my voice back. I've only had it back maybe a day and a half, so bear with me. I have tea. I have ginger, mint, and lemon that I'm sipping on. So I may need to take some breaks for that. But my timeline is full right now because there are so many people in my small circle of the world that are struggling during this time of year because their hearts are heavy. They are feeling grief. They are moving in the grief. And I don't know if they are receiving the comfort and the care that they need during this time. Unfortunately, I know a little bit about that since it's been 8 years since my oldest son was killed, and he was 18 at the time. So he's extremely young, very unexpected. You just don't know how to prepare for that. But I don't know if you ever know how to prepare. I lost my dad 4 years ago, and it doesn't even seem like it was just 4 years ago, but 4 years ago, and he was sick. But you just never can prepare for it. And the holidays is that time of year that everybody wants to embrace family, being together, tradition, love. And these are all the things that every year change a little bit as we lose people in our lives that help to cultivate those traditions and those cultures. And so it's taken me a long time to be able to have this conversation. It has taken me 8 years to be able to find the voice to articulate the words about this subject, because when you are moving through grief, it immobilizes you. It pulls you into a world of quicksand. You can't move in it. And it's so hard to explain unless you're in it. But there are moments that you cannot breathe without God Almighty doing the work for you. Like, there are times I don't even know how I was able to function because I was moving through space, but I don't know how I was moving through space because I was just on autopilot. And so I definitely understand that. And I'm just very, very honored to be able to have this conversation with anybody who wants and needs to hear it, because like I said, it's a difficult conversation to have. It's taken me a while to find the words and the voice to have it. But I moved through it. I am moving through it. And anything that I can do to help, to assist, to comfort, to validate, that's what I'm here to do. So the first step for me, the very, very first step for me, was to realize that this process of grief was not a 8-step process. You always see these articles about the stages of grief, and some stages take longer than others. What I don't know many say in those articles when they're imparting those words of wisdom is that once you go through a step, you're not done with that step. Let me say that again. Once you go through that step, you may jump over a couple of steps. You might stumble back on a step. You might not be in any step. And then all of a sudden you find yourself back on a step. Your grief is 25/8. What does 25/8 mean? You saying 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. You're like, there's not 25 hours in the day. There isn't 8 days in the week. It feels like it is never ending. There is no end to this thing called grief. It ebbs and it flows. Sometimes it's intense. Sometimes it's a little bit more relaxed and loose. Sometimes you can talk through it. Sometimes you can move through it. Sometimes you can't talk or move at all. But what you have to do is understand that's okay. You have to feel whatever it is that you're feeling and not pretend that you're not feeling. You just have to feel it. You have to honor the fact that you feel what you feel and surround yourself with a village of people who understand that you are going through something in a way that no one has gone through. You may have people in your family that have lost a loved one, and you all will process it different. You may have a circle of people that have lost one loved one in common, and you all process it different. You have to honor that in each other, but you have to honor that in yourself and not question it, but feel it, move through it, go through it. When I lost my son, when I buried my son, I was in school getting my degree. It was finals. I had papers due the week that we buried him. I got a 1-week extension. I do what all Capricorns do. I went into organizational mode. Went through the process of burying my son. The next day, drove back to my partner's home, who I was with at the time. Wrote my paper. Got a B out the class. Paper wasn't the best, but it was good enough. Next week, you get a break. Week after that, next class. I never stopped. I kept going. And I still had a younger son that I needed to support and comfort and protect and make sure that he was good, because he also was grieving. So there was no time for me. I had to focus on him. I did not allow myself to feel. And because I didn't allow myself to feel, I cracked. I broke. I hit a wall. And I hit a wall because when you feel all of those emotions that you feel and you do not allow yourself to process them, you will pop. A balloon can only take so much air. Your emotions can only take so much of that grief. So you have to validate those within yourself, and you have to make sure that the people around you allow you to feel the way you feel, and they also validate you. That's important. No one can tell you how to feel at any given time. No one should tell you where you should be in your grief. No one should tell you that your timeline don't look a certain way. No one should tell you that you're overreacting. No one should tell you that you're not feeling enough. No one should tell you that you're not doing enough. No one should tell you any of those things about how you feel. So admit it, honor it, and feel it. That's the number one thing. Because as long as you push and you deny and you run and you try to act like everything's okay, everything will not be okay. It just won't. And when you hit that wall, and trust me, you will hit that wall, it will be a hard fall, because it was for me. Number 2 on my list is self-care. It is so critical. It is so important that at this stage in your life, when you're feeling that you take time out for you so that you can process adequately. What does that mean? How do we process? You know, African Americans have this thing about, I'm going to go to church. I'm going to go to church and I'm going to be just fine. Oh, I went to church today and I'm just fine. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to feel how I feel in church and I'm going to be just fine. And I am not bashing church by any means, okay? I love my home church. My home church was my sense of comfort when I lost my son immediately and today. It is the one place I feel at home when I walk onto the grounds, when I see the people in the parking lot, when I greet the people when I walk in. And my church is where I'm born and raised, not where I live. So I live 4 hours away. I only come to church at some time. So I give you that backstory because I don't bash church, okay? Born and raised in the church, love my church. But you also need to have a place that is totally neutral, where you can get some help and some perspective on how you feel. You can organize those thoughts sensibly. And therapy has been my friend. I met my therapist because I hired her for my son. He was 6 when his older brother was killed, and I wanted him to be okay. He was very quiet. He's always been a very quiet, very still child. It worried me because I'm not that. And his brother wasn't that. It's taken me some time to realize that he's just a real laid back, cool, easy kid. But he also needed help to process how he felt. And she was his therapist. When you're a parent and you seek therapy for your child, you get the benefit of that therapy because that therapist has to also help you help your child. And so I kind of got a little bit of therapy too. And not only did she help him, she was just so easy to talk to. And we lost touch over the years, and then she got booked and we couldn't get back on her calendar. So we found another therapist for my son. But when I was in need, she was the one person I wanted to go to. And when I called her, she had time, room, and space. And that was 9 years ago. I don't see her every week. Sometimes I don't see her every month. But because she knows my story, because she knows my history, because she knows my journey, when I have a bad day at work, and I've had to go to therapy because some things at work were not quite right for me. And you know, it all came back around to my trauma of losing my son and me being in my grief. When things in my relationship are not right, it's not always about that relationship. It also sometimes comes back around to my trauma and my grief and how I react to things and my triggers. You need someone to help you organize those things so that you can move better through the world, so that you can make better choices, so that you can be a more whole person. And church doesn't give you that. Church doesn't allow you to get up and speak and feel and process. What you do is you sit and you take in what church has to give you, and it fills you, right? But when do you get to get out the things that you need? You need to go see that therapist. I'm advocating that you go see that therapist. And if you find a therapist that isn't right for you, then fire that therapist. Go find another one. It's not one and done. It is not an exact science. Sometimes it takes a minute to be able to find that fit. Somebody that makes you feel comfortable. Somebody that makes you feel safe. But it is worth it. And when you find it, there will be a little bit of rest, a little bit of peace, a little bit of weight that's lifted from you that you need in order for the other pieces of your world to be okay. Because what I know about this grief is that it is not surrounded solely on your loss. It manifests itself into other places of your world and how you react and respond and live in that world. So you owe it to yourself to be the best you can be and to get that help. The other part of that self-care for me is my massages, baby. I gotta get my massages in. It is like a doctor's appointment. You know, when you leave a doctor's appointment and they say, okay, we want to see you for your follow-up and blah, 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 and you make that appointment before you walk out the door. That's how I am about my massages. For me, I need that downtime of not speaking and someone moving through my body, because I have found that I carry stress in my body. And if I don't get those things out, my body internalizes them in the form of, for me, headaches. It could be getting your nails done. It could be, downtime with your girlfriends and making that a point that you do. It could be family time and connecting. It could be paint and sip night. Whatever your self-care is for you, the thing that takes you out of your mind and helps you to just be and not think and process, you need those moments and you need to be able to do those things. So, number one, honor your grief. Understand it, process it, admit it, and feel it. Number two, self-care. Therapy is A. B can be whatever and above. You decide. Number three, during the holidays when I was first going through my loss, I shut all the way down. I mean, I shut all the way down. I never left my house on Christmas Day. I barely answered my phone. I didn't want to talk. Talking made me cry. My pain was so sharp and so deep, and I don't know if people around me understood that even speaking it broke me into pieces. But I had to go through that, and I had to feel it. That was the way I processed. And then one year, I took out the Christmas tree. I put the ornaments up, and I got really happy. So, finding ways to honor your loved one during a holiday with traditions and systems that incorporate your loved ones are very, very important. I have these ornaments that my boys made growing up. I also have these cute little ornaments, these little picture ornaments, and then you put their little pictures in when they were like 5 and 7. And to hang those pictures up on the tree and remember them in those Christmases is everything for me. It makes me happy. It didn't always make me happy. But once I pushed through, once I worked through, once I started to articulate my grief a little bit more, I was able to come to realize that those memories are comforting to me. And so Day after Thanksgiving, the tree goes up, the ornaments are hung, and by night, we're done. And that is my tradition. Whatever your tradition is, make it. If it's a favorite food that they liked, cook it. If it's a favorite movie that you all watched, watch it. If it's wearing pajamas on Christmas Eve, wear them. Incorporate things that make your loved one's spirit come to life during the holidays. That's number 3. Number 4, homework. Write yourself a note. Excuse me. Write yourself a note and put it in an envelope. You can place it in the tree or underneath the tree. Doesn't matter which. Okay? But on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, open that envelope. And what you will have placed inside that envelope is a note or a memo of something that your loved one would have said to you to encourage you, to empower you, to motivate you, to celebrate you. Remind yourself of that gift, because your loved ones, they leave us gifts all the time. And sometimes we don't always see ourselves in the eyes of that other people see us in. And so it's important to remind yourself. I'll give you an example. So I've always been of an entrepreneurial spirit. That's just who I am, okay? I come from entrepreneurial people, okay? My grandfather was a sharecropper, but he also was a barber, and everyone came to him in the community to get their haircut. He also sold moonshine. I think they call it white lightning in my area. So, yeah, he was an entrepreneur because he had a way of getting what the people needed and wanted. And my grandmother, on my father's side, I always thought she was like a housekeeper, but she was for the police department and the town hall and the fire department. All the local government sites she had the contracts for to clean and make sure those facilities were in top notch. So I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always been a hustler, and that's always come out in my job. And my son has always been there. Both of my boys have always been with me when I worked. They've always seen me grind. They've always seen me move. And so I always have shown them that that's who I am. And one day, I was taking over this facility, managing a facility out of state in Maryland. I lived in VA at the time, and opening a brand new site. I had to develop all the classes. I had to hire every instructor. And when I say brand new, like they are still drilling equipment in the building. We are unpacking equipment and placing it there. And my son came with me to help unpack the equipment. Because like I said, my boys are always with me. And so we're driving down 95. And we hitting the mixing bowl. That's a highway in Springfield area. Springfield, Virginia. And Rick Ross's song is hot, right? And it comes on the radio. And you know I'm chill, I'm cool, so I turn the radio up, and so my head's bopping. My oldest son, his head's bopping, you know. So I'm listening to it. He reaches and turns it up even more. He said, "Mama, this is your theme song, okay? This is your song. I remember. I can hear his voice when he said it. Every day I'm hustling. Rick Ross. That's my theme song. So my words of encouragement are just every day I'm hustling. Rick Ross. Because it showed me that even though I didn't talk about what I did, my son saw all the things that I did, from managing to opening up my own studio and producing my own video and hiring instructors, and the work, the late nights, the building the websites, the trainings. He saw it, and he never saw it as work. He always saw it as just my hustle, because it is, that's what I do. And so it made me proud that my son saw my work ethic. It made me proud that he got it and that he understood it. It was also a proud moment for me to share with him that it's not just my work ethic, but it was our work ethic, because we come from a lineage of entrepreneurs. So I know you got a story like that. I know you have a memory of how your loved one saw you. I need you to write that down. I need you to put it in an envelope. I need you to seal it, and I need you to open it up on Christmas Day, and I need you to take that in and own that and live your next days in that walk. So recapping: grief, honor it, embrace it, push through it, walk through it, okay? Self-care, therapy, and anything fun that you need that relaxes you and rejuvenates you. Find ways to honor your loved one during the holidays. Incorporate your loved ones in your traditions. Write yourself a memo. Number 4, write yourself a memo of words of encouragement as if they were spoken from your loved one. And number five, find purpose in your loved one's existence, because that is the one thing that has gotten me through. After I went through the process of saying, why me? Why him? Why so young? Why? After I moved out of that phase of my grief, the only thing that comforted me was knowing the wonderful things about my boy on the 18 years that he was here, and how he helped me grow, how he helped me become a better mother for his brother, how he helped me to become a better person, how he helped me to be stronger, how he helped me to process, forgive, love, and embrace. So find that purpose in your loved one's existence, because we're all here for a season. We're all here for a reason. And your loved ones were there to touch you in a way to help grow you and change you and make you better. Take comfort in that. Identify it. Once you identify it, there's a little bit of ease that comes over you. And like I said, it ebbs and it flows. It's 24/7. It's 25/8. It is never ending. Some days are harder than others. Some days are easier than others. Allow yourself to feel. But these are the things that have helped me over the last 8 years. And so I just wanted to share Enjoy your holiday, however you plan to spend it, and give yourself permission. Thank you. I am Paula Marie of paulamariespeaks.com. If you would like to download this blog, or if you would like to share this blog, please share this video. And you can also go to paulamariespeaks.com and download the blog. Happy holidays. Stay blessed.